Thank you, Mr. Pilot, and my congratulations to the winners. I now have the privilege of introducing one of our most dynamic ministers and our keynote speaker for today, Mr. Sachin Pilot. Mr. Pilot is definitely young, dynamic, and is deeply committed to the betterment of India Incorporated. Known for his efficient and effective initiatives, he is a man of integrity and strength of character, with a clear vision and an unshakable commitment to getting the job done. Not only does Mr. Pilot belong to the current sustainability conscious generation, but his job also concerns two activities that are absolutely vital for achieving such sustainability: communications and information technology. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming the Honorable Minister, Mr. Sachin Pilot.
Mr. Gautam Thapar, Mr. Vastupal, Ms. Rekha Sethi, ladies and gentlemen, let me start by saying that Mr. Thapar's introduction was very flattering, although I believe exaggerated. But thank you, Gautam, for those kind words as an introduction. Let me also congratulate the winners who got the awards today. And I also wish to congratulate the teams and the individual, Rachit Sharma, for those presentations. And I dare say that the quality of the PowerPoint presentations that you have brought forward this evening far exceeds anything that I had ever worked on when I was working in a company. So a lot of congratulations and best wishes for you to have come up with such concise and really hard-hitting presentations which touched the core issue at hand. The fact that I see so many young people here and the ones that have been awarded, and I'm sure many more had participated in events like this, I think IMA deserves a lot of applaud for conducting these competitions, making people participate, and companies and corporations, both private and in the government sector, have come forward and become real stakeholders in this event. It's a national event from all parts of our country, and it's so good to see young people's efforts being appreciated. In any company, whether it's Indian or foreign, I think the lines are getting blurred. More and more foreign companies which have set up shop in India over the last decade have tried to make themselves look as Indian as possible. That is to appeal to the large domestic market that we have. And individuals like yourselves which work in these companies, I think have done a commendable job in getting foreign companies to come here and establish themselves in India. But I think what is also even more remarkable is the fact that now entrepreneurs and enterprises from within India have gathered enough strength, determination. I think the credit and the resources were always available perhaps, but not to the extent they are today. But what has taken Indian companies and individuals across our political borders has been the fact that the kind of self-confidence we have within our own system and economy, that is a reflection of the kinds of investments and acquisitions Indian companies are making overseas. 25 years ago, the Indian private sector, I think, did not lack the knowledge or the know-how of doing business or managing businesses. It is because you have an inbuilt sense of self-respect, pride, confidence within our own economy, our own markets, our own systems, that we are able to explore and conquer other frontiers outside of India. Over the last few years, many Indian companies have made a mark in different continents. Many individuals have embarked upon a long journey to establish themselves as corporates in lands far away from India. It takes a lot of effort, and I think the government and various governments in the last decade and a half have been supportive of the fact that as multinational companies, as large corporations are looking at India, which is 1/6 of humankind resides in this land of ours in India. It's a huge market for all companies to look at, a lucrative market, a large place to sell their goods and services. India must also reach out. We must not remain captive to the domain of the foreign corporations and companies. Indian companies have ventured out. In the IT field, in the information technology area, there are many, many Indian companies, maybe more than half a dozen, which are really Indian companies, but they're setting the global benchmark. For any IT company around the world, whether Europe or North America, they are pitching themselves against the IT companies which have taken birth here in India. It could be in the southern part of India or the western part of India, or whichever part of our country. But these companies have become global standard-making companies. So they are setting benchmarks for other IT companies for them to follow. But what makes a company tick? What does it take for people from across age groups, from across ethnicity, and race, and language, and religion to come together to work for a common objective? Clearly, it's the idea of the product that you make and sell or services, but more importantly, it is the kinds of teamwork, the kind of understanding, the kind of drive and ambition that a group of young people can bring to the table, which nobody else can. And I know for a fact that when I meet young people across our country, whether it's young students, young professionals, or even young farmers or people who are working, who are self-employed, they have in their eyes a dream and an aspiration for a better life for themselves. They don't have the patience to pray to God that their children and grandchildren get a better life. They want a better life for themselves in the next 2 years or 3 years or 4 years. And they're willing to work for it. No country has made progress without its young people having the determination, the skill sets, the talent, the hard work, the determination, the sense of sacrifice for contributing to society and to family. If you have these ingredients, there is no reason why this country shall remain second to none in the next few years. A lot of things have come together at the same time. We have the benefit of being a young country. It's an opportunity, but also a challenge. When I see some of you sitting here and in the audience, I know the knowledge that you possess, the few years that you've had your jobs and you've worked, you've learned a tremendous amount. The exposure that you're able to get today, the same people your age 20 years ago did not have the resources, did not have the exposure, did not have the medium to communicate. And I say this at many platforms whenever I get a chance to speak, that even if you had the mobile telephony and the broadband internet connections and the 200 channels that you watch and the English-speaking capabilities that Indians have today, 20 years ago, a young Indian compared to a young person today in 2011, the difference lies that today you are able to stand up and make a presentation which is better than anyone who makes a presentation in London, Brussels, Paris, or Washington. That is because you have the confidence. The pride in our country, the pride in our history, in our present, in our nation, that is a difference which perhaps all of us didn't have 30 years ago. Indians were making the best doctors, lawyers, engineers, architects. In the US, the IIT the IIM graduates did fantastic work, technical work. But what they were lacking was in the soft skills. They did not have what it takes to get up and talk loudly and proudly about their ideas, their innovation. Today, you speak to a young Indian who's 21 years old, who's well educated, he or she can talk anybody out because they have the confidence in themselves. And I think all of our energies must be deployed to create that young generation of Indians, and the numbers are in the hundreds of millions. We have to give them the platform to acquire skills, to retrain themselves if they have to. But you're not competing with your peers from Bangalore and Cochin and Jammu and Guwahati. You will have to, in your lifetime, compete with managers, with talented people from across the world. This dividing line between corporations, Indian incorporated or corporated outside of our country, will get very blurred. So when Indian companies are going to reach out to the world, are going to become sustainable business models, they will require managers, young managers. Of course, the core team at the head gives the vision, the direction, but the actual execution lies at the hands of the middle management. And the young people who are working 15, 18 hours a day to make the company's dreams become a reality. So that onus, that challenge lies on your shoulders. I'm happy to see that there is now a realization that it is not enough just to be satisfied with what we've achieved. You have to aspire for larger targets, bigger goals, and quite frankly, the country expects it of you. It's not the case that any government has a magic wand or any part of our society or economy can really drive from the front and pull this country along. It has to be the private sector. It has to be young people. And I always say in the ministry that I'm working, in the IT sector, We exported $78 billion worth of software services in just one last year. But our demand for the electronics industry in India today is $45 billion. In less than 10 years, it will become $500 billion. That will be more than the oil import bill of this country. And we will have to import all of those hundreds of billions of dollars worth of electronic goods if we don't start manufacturing here. We have to start manufacturing. We're trying to create an ecosystem where the raw material, the talent pool, the manufacturing, engineering, designing capabilities of our Indian companies and individuals comes together, because we have the capacity to meet global standards on both price points and on quality. If we're able to do that, our manufacturing will then gain momentum. And that's the direction in which my department, my ministry, and we in the government are working towards. 2/3 of our country doing farming, contributing 17% of our GDP, that cannot sustain us for long. We have to shift a huge part of our agrarian workforce onto the shop floor, onto the factories and industries, and give them those skills so that they can add value to the economy. And that is when we will create global giants. That is when Indian companies will be able to expand their revenue stream and become real global companies. I'm still waiting for a Google or a Microsoft to come out of India. It will, sooner or later. The ideas are there. We have the incubation capacities. We have the R&D facilities. We have such brilliant human talent, but they need the fostering, the hand-holding, the capacity building, and the support of everyone, including the government. So we're working towards that. I don't want to make a very long speech today. It's been a long day for all of you, but I'm happy to have any Q&A that you want to have a little later on. But let me just end by saying that people talked about how India is young and how it's changing. I say to them that this large workforce today is paying us dividend. But if you do not give them the right education or the right talents, in a decade's time, it can also become a huge burden for us. Young people, underqualified, underconfident, not employed to the capacity is a much bigger challenge than we can imagine today. So we have to focus on our basic education. We make 500,000 engineers every year. A study has said that less than 25% of them are employable straight off the campus. So companies take them on, retrain them, give them some conditioning courses, and then they become effective workforce for the companies. So quality of education, ability to explore new ideas, work on those ideas, and work selflessly. You're not making just yourselves proud. You're working for your families, you're working for your friends and dear ones, your companies and corporations, and more importantly, you're making India proud. And we all, coming from different backgrounds, some of us are in politics, some of us are in business, some of you are professionals, but we all make up this one country. And through thousands of years of our history, we have survived as one strong nation because of our identity. We speak different languages, we have different customs and religions and backgrounds, but our core is still Indian. So whatever you win and succeed and you achieve, you're doing your country a favor, you're doing all of us a favor. I wish you the very best in your future endeavors. Thank you very much.